Arthur, this is the presentation room I made for you. If you have
Okay, now
any,
we are live on the Government of Xalia YouTube channel.
okay,
Great.
great.
Okay, I will check the thing. I'll check the channel right now to make sure it's running.
Okay. Just a question to everyone that's here.
Yeah,
How did everyone discover the Micro Summit through Twitter?
I did through
Yes,
Twitter,
through
yes.
Twitter. Yes.
And what about you, Jan?
Thing. I'll check the channel right now to make sure it's running. Okay,
Okay.
the live is
Just a
working.
question to everyone that's here.
Yeah.
How did everyone discover the Micro Summit?
The live is working and I can hear myself well on
No
the.
one outside of it can hear you. Well, I cannot hear what you're saying right now, Jan.
Yes, I'm getting the hang of it.
Yeah, it takes some time.
Thank you so much for guiding me.
Well,
What is your name, by the way? What you are Satoshi?
I'm Lucas. That's my name. Lucas.
Lucas.
My name
Okay.
is Lucas. My micronation is called Satoshi.
Uh-huh. Tell me about your micronation. I'm curious.
Yes, well, here you can see a little presentation room that I have.
Uh-huh.
We're relatively new. I made my micronation in 2022, February.
Oh,
Um,
I'm still learning to navigate here. Mm.
By the way, I will be muting myself on the channel, so just to make sure nothing much is heard when I'm not talking. So yeah.
okay. Okay, okay, I understand. Um, wait, where? Which one here? Same, same. Same situation with me. I actually wanted to talk to you about that. Yes. So it started out in 2022. Since then, I hosted the G Micro Summit with Chloe of Sancrotosia. Perhaps you heard of her in 2022, and this is the second edition of it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I'll be attending MicroCon EU. If you will be attending by any chance, are you located in Europe or?
Yes, I'm considering it.
Well, actually, presentation registration. I think it actually closed, so you need to email Evam.
Hmm.
So just
Oh,
yeah,
I don't want to be making a presentation this time. This time I would just go there to meet the people, finally meet
yeah,
the others.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's great to meet people. Virtually is naturally also good. Then more people can come, but physically is always better.
Yeah, I believe so. And I really wanted to do it for a long time,
Yeah.
but there was always something in the way.
Ugh.
So,
Have you
yeah.
ever have you ever attended a micronational conference, whether that be digital or physical?
I've been what could be said the first virtual nation, like to participate virtually uh, in a conference. I believe it was 19. I don't remember properly. It was some time ago, years ago.
Wow.
Um, I couldn't go personally, so I paid a place for the conference, like for a chair there. My idea was to make it virtual, like interactive. You understand?
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, we tried, but there was a problem with the Wi-Fi.
Oh.
So I had to send a video, so they showed the video instead.
Mm.
And at the same time, I rented a room where I lived, like in the local center, like library.
Okay.
So to make a part to make it part of the conference where
Okay.
I was living, so people could walk by in that room and check what it was about, what micronationalism was about, and about the conference.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't remember the year.
Okay. That's really interesting. I think that Chloe would love to hear that. But I think I told her she's now probably sleeping.
Yeah,
Um, so should we start at 2:30 then?
sure, I'm fine.
So we can just chat until that time. Then
Yes.
we'll start. Okay. I'm
Mhm.
gonna try contacting Chloe, but I'll be available. Feel free to explore and talk
Yeah.
with any other attendees. Just come to everyone. Just feel free,
Okay.
explore, talk.
Oh, and no hurry. You don't need to hurry, okay? Don't be concerned.
Okay.
Just being here is already a victory.
Yeah.
learning, I'm learning all this, so take your time, okay? And thank you so much for organizing, for the wonderful effort you are putting into this.
Thank you. Thank you.
We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it a lot. I've been since January planning this with Chloe. I have to give credit to her. But thank you for those words. I appreciate them. Also, I'm going to be sending an email to all the other people just to inform them that we're starting right now. So if you receive an email, just let you know.
Okay.
It's just a reminder for the people who are not here yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Alright, I am. Well, I'm back, I guess. What's
okay.
going on?
Okay. Great. Great.
Is there anything new right now? Like, something happened?
Oh, we are waiting for Chloe. In the mean, and if she doesn't come in the next 15 minutes, then we're just gonna start in 15 minutes.
Okay.
She's probably sleeping. She only had 5 hours of sleep, so
So, remind me, I have 10 minutes to show my presentation, right?
yes, maximum 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll go first, then Chloe will go, then Stephen of Cool will go, and then you're gonna be last for today. And
Yeah.
tomorrow we will have Jürgen Schwarz giving a presentation as well.
Alright.
Oh, actually, Arthur.
He's muted,
Yes.
so. Oh,
Yes. I believe that you are acquainted with the presentation that will be given tomorrow. It was the one that Jürgen gave last year at the Micro Euro Summit.
Okay.
Do you remember it?
Yes. Yeah, I remember the presentation. Yes,
Was it interesting?
it was
Or
very interesting. About 40 minutes. I
okay,
really liked it. Well prepared, and
yeah,
it was very good.
okay. Actually, I'd like to know how was it hosting a conference
sorry.
for you? Yes.
So we prepared about for a year, and so
Wow.
we yeah, it was of course sometimes very hard to find people who want to come, and people
Yeah.
who really come. Some just say we want to come, but they don't come in the end.
Yeah.
And we had to find a location, which is not very easy for micronations.
Yeah. Yeah. How
But
did you find the city of Chais?
and the Taranton of Obscurium and the third organizer, Mr. Olsen, they went there 2 years ago as a holiday in this region of
Oh,
Czechia, and talked with the owner, the count of the castle, and he said yes, we could do it. And since then we had it 2 times there, and everything went well. And It's very friendly to us.
Okay, and I believe you're establishing an office there, right? Or
Uh,
something along those lines. I think I saw that somewhere on Twitter. I don't know.
yes, yeah, that's right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we had some really cool participants, like the foreign minister of Ushupis,
Oh wow.
which came.
Okay.
But
Okay.
most of the people were from Austria and Germany.
Yeah, that's
Um,
close.
and it's also funny that no one from Czechia attended, no one from Slovakia,
Wow.
and from Lithuania and Estonia. Too. Also Slitronia from Estonia. They had a really long travel there.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's also a video on YouTube if you're interested in.
Really, where is it?
At our YouTube channel, Documentary Government.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
And we made lots of pictures and videos and.
Yeah, I saw the pictures, but didn't see the video. So I like to see that. Thanks. So tell me, how did documentary come to fruition? Anything? Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. How did it come to fruition? How did it start out?
What do you mean? I haven't. The connection
How?
was very bad.
Oh, sorry. How did documentary start out as a micronation, just in general?
So we started 5 years ago as
Okay.
some sort like a joke, or it was for fun. But the first 2 or 3 years I didn't family.
Okay. Okay.
The first years are very silent and very not much activity, very quiet, very calm. Since 2 years we are on the internet,
Okay.
like the other micronations. We try to do our best.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Just found the video. Okay.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, someone got arrested though?
Yeah, it was also for fun. It was.
Oh. Okay.
It was.
It was a joke. Yeah.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
can you try to find me? Where am I?
Hold on.
Where am I?
Up. You clipped out of bounds.
Yes.
Actually, I need to reload. So that's the only way I know how to get out.
I love this glitch, not gonna lie.
Hold on.
Yeah.
There, I got you back. Oh, where's everyone? Okay. Oh, it's actually really nice.
my nation, by the way? You said I had a room here.
Okay, so the rooms here, as you can see, we sent out an email. I believe that we sent the email out before you register it. That's so you can send us pictures of your micronation, and we'll put it in a room. And I was just working on the flag since I have to manually find the flag online.
Okay.
So can you please send me your flag and some images of Jan? Then I put a room up and I'll put your flag online on the wall.
Of course.
Great. You can send it to contact@digimicrosummit.info.
Okay. We'll be doing that while we wait.
Yes.
And then each toiler will see and understand that we are right to revel again.
haven't prepared the presentation anyway. Oh, someone left. Oh, it was Jan.
Yippee! Oh shit. Yippee! I don't even know what to do. You can hear me, right? Hello. Oh.
Hello.
I don't even know what to do right now. I'm just waiting, I guess. You spin me right round, baby. This is kinda not serious, not gonna lie. 1 second, be right back. Kinda not serious, not gonna lie. 1 second, be right back.
I'm preparing the presentation that I'll be giving. So.
You're preparing. Okay, 1 second. 1 sec.
Something the matter? Sure. Oh, okay. Sure. Okay, sure. Something.
By the way, when it's my time, can you import my PDF? Like, can you do it yourself instead of cause I don't have any permission to do any changes to the room.
Okay, everyone, we're starting in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, good. 1 second. I accidentally opened the program.
Sure, sure.
Sorry, I'm kind of tired. I've been up the entire night, so. I'll have to be right back.
Sure, sure, sure. Am I recording? Yes, great. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Lucas, and this is cryptocurrencies in micronations. So, a quick table of contents. We are going
Alright, I am back. Is the presentation
introduction
starting?
about crypto. Yes, we just started.
Okay, great.
A quick table of contents. The introduction. We're gonna briefly cover the topic. What is a token? Why should I use a token? We're gonna go deep into that. How do I make my own token? Clarifying and demystifying cryptocurrencies, a little surprise, and an appendix. Introduction. So, I was reading this article the other day, and they said that making your own token is very hard. Except that's not really true. Definition, it's really hard to explain it. But short version is that they are usually referring to coding your own blockchain, which is really what a cryptocurrency works on. It's really the backend. That's the most important thing. But minting a token, which is what micronations do, is far easier. Um, actually, hold on. Yes. Moving on. A brief history of cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies began in 2008 after the financial crash that happened in 2008. Lots of people still remember it, and that was when Satoshi Nakamoto, the inventor of Bitcoin, realized that we need a decentralized solution to this. And he said, you know what? Let's make Bitcoin. So that's really how it started. It was born out of the financial crisis of 2008. Micronations that have implemented tokens, two noteworthy ones are Libraland. They've been doing lots of things with cryptocurrencies, but they aren't really part of the micronational community. One that is part of the micronational community, was called Lemark. And Lemark unfortunately disbanded a few months ago. Except they really used our token and they gave it utility. And we're going to cover that soon. What is a token? The short version is that it's a digital asset that you can mint yourself, that you can control the supply and distribution of, and that you can load with utility that you should use in the context of your micronation. So it's like printing your own money, but easier and cheaper and suited to the digital age. Now, why should micronations have a token? Well, first of all, it's international. Anyone from anywhere can have your currency without needing to physically own one. This is a huge problem micronations have with currencies. We're going to cover that a bit more soon. It's far cheaper. With a cryptocurrency, you really just need to pay gas fees. Whilst when you print your own currency, you have to actually print it, you have to ship it out, you also need to design it, and it only takes a lot of time and money. So it's faster in that way. A cryptocurrency transaction can take mere seconds, while shipping out a currency can take at most weeks, or even months in my experience. And it's also just easier. As I previously just said, it's easier to make a token than a paper bill. Although I'm not saying that we should eliminate physical currency. It's in micronations. I'm saying that we should consider it as an extra option. That's what Lemark did, for example. And the final thing that we're going to cover is utility. So we're going to cover most of these topics in the next few slides. Utility. So we all know what a micronation is, but a micronation is when you replicate a country. You have a government, constitution, money. People do different things. Some people don't have a constitution or a government. It varies. But one thing that most micronations have is a currency. And that physical currency has no practical utility for citizens that is spread across the globe. As I also previously just said, you need to print it, design it, and ship it. And you have to pay to make your currency. Now, when you exchange tokens, it does involve gas fees, which just take fiat money. That's macronational currency. And the cost varies. But depending on the blockchain that you use it on, it can be really cheap. Sometimes even a cent. So you really have to figure out, how do I give my token utility? What can I do with it? Practical uses. Tokens can be used for several projects. Looking at Lemark, a now defunct micronation implemented their token for multiple projects. They made trivias, services. They made digital services and user token for them. So they had this cool idea where they had a monthly trivia, and you would win tokens, and you could pay with that token. But you also have to be creative. You have to find ways to give it utility, like special events or content that can only be accessed by owning a token. Now, this part is something that I would do if you really believe in, and you do need, which is giving it actual worth outside of your micronation. So you can list a token on a decentralized exchange like Uniswap, PancakeSwap. They're called DEXs. There are lots of them. But it can occasionally be a bit risky because you have to give it liquidity in the form of Ethereum and in your own token. So you basically have to give X amount of Ethereum and X amount of your token. And this is just how it works in general, but depending on how much Ethereum or whatever other currency and your token that you have determines the price of it. If someone sells your token, then there are more liquidity in the token, but less in the Ethereum part. And that's how prices change. And that can be the risky thing, because let's say there's this one person who has a lot of that token, then theoretically they can just bring the value to zero and take a small profit. So your goal is to incentivize people to hold on to your token. International. Micronations usually have citizens across the globe. Maybe not over the entire world, but most micronations have a citizen or two that's not locally where they are. So you would need to buy the currency, receive it, and ship it out. We already covered this a few times. Just realized that. And that whole process can take time and money. So it's really easy and international. So yeah, it's just a really good thing. Just imagine. Wait, no one can hear me? Can someone hear me? Please say it in chat. Okay. That's weird. Jan, can you... Okay, thanks. Jan, can you reload? That might be the problem. Let's continue. But with a token, that whole process... But with a token, the process that would have taken weeks with a physical currency could be done in minutes. Now, how do I make a token? First, you need to pick a blockchain, Ethereum, the BNB chain, not the exchange, and Polygon are my recommendations. Determine how much you're willing to spend. Minting a token on Ethereum is more expensive than on Polygon. You usually need a few $100s on Ethereum, as gas fees for minting a token is high. They have luckily reduced the price for gas fees. Well, they didn't reduce it themselves, so yeah, long story. I need to buy some of the native cryptocurrency from a respective blockchain. So with Polygon, you need to buy Matic tokens. With BNB chain, you need to buy BNB. And with Ethereum, you need to buy Ethereum. And you need to use a special tool called Ethereum Remix. And then you need to find the code. Now this is really easy. Maybe it looks hard and scary, but it really isn't, since really all you need to do is choose what you want to do, what blockchain, how much you're willing to spend depending on that blockchain. Buy some of the cryptocurrency from that blockchain. So let's say you want to do Polygon, that's the blockchain I use for my token. Then you need to buy some Matic, maybe $1 or $2, and you'll be set for years probably. You then have to take some code. You can find them online. I'll link it's in the appendix. And you'll need to just paste that in the Ethereum Remix tool, also in the appendix. And voila, you have a token. So lots of people think it's technical. As I previously said, I was reading an article and listening to a podcast, and they said that it's really, really hard, and you need a special tool for it, and you need a developer. But that's just not. In this case, you don't need to. All you need to have is some code. They're referring to making a blockchain, and this was in the micronational context, but no, you don't need to. All you need is some code that you can find online. So it truly is easy. You can find it on Medium, for example, in certain articles. If you need any help, I've minted multiple tokens, and I am willing to help you and other micronations adopt this innovative technology. So you can just email me or message me on any other platform, and I'll be sure to help you out. Clarifying and demystifying cryptocurrencies. Now, a lot of people have environmental concerns about it. So I just want to address that. Whilst it is true that the Bitcoin does use a lot of energy, and thus its CO2 output is very high, there are other blockchains like the Ethereum, Polygon, and BNB chain that have a special system called proof of stake. It's the way that they made the blockchain. And with proof of stake, you can you basically make it a far more energy efficient process, thus less CO2 output. And Casalia, you can ask a question. You can say it at the. Well, we're almost done. The joining sounds ruined the microphone. Okay. We're almost done. We're almost done. Don't worry. I'll figure it out. So the environmental concerns. So actually, the Ethereum blockchain. I don't know the statistics for the other ones, but the Ethereum blockchain reduced its CO2 output by 99.9%, which is a lot, and it's great. They just basically took an entire country worth of CO2 output off of the Earth's environmental bill. It's great. So actually, the argument can be made that it's actually better for the environment. Now, a lot of people have safety concerns, and they say that it's not that safe. Well, research, the way that the blockchain is coded shows that it's actually one of the most safest technologies, as it's really hard to hack it, as you basically need to hack thousands of computers at the same time, hoping none of them will detect it. And it's never been done before. Now you may think, oh, but I heard someone got hacked the other day. Well, that's different. They didn't hack the blockchain itself, which is the bread and butter. It's a ledger with all transactions. Really important. I'm not going to go into that deep in. You'll probably can find a video about it online. And as for the sounds, because they're all starting to annoy me now, please don't walk. Is anyone walking around? It's weird. Um, Safety. So it's actually, well, people have been hacked, but that was not the blockchain being hacked. It was their computers or phones being hacked, and because they either had bad security or the app they were using had bad security, um, the hackers were able to enter their wallet and pretend like they were her, because it's just code, and send a transaction. So, long story short, the blockchain has never been hacked. It's just people's devices being hacked. And it's associated with criminals. All cryptocurrencies have this stigma. The problem, except this is because we are really focusing on all the bad transactions that Bitcoin had. Bitcoin, for example, except an analysis, an audit done by Chainalysis, a very respected company, and the UN shows that only 0.43% of all Bitcoin transactions are criminal compared to the 5% that the banking industry has. So, to summarize this slide, not only has it been proven that Bitcoin, Ethereum is more energy efficient than the banking industry, for example, and it is not, and although, yes, obviously criminals will try with any currency, it's far less than you think. Um, and a small surprise, if you'd like, if you have a Ethereum wallet, then I'll send you a commemorative NFT of Digi Micro Summit and or this presentation if you'd like.
I'd like
I
the
just don't need the
opportunity
NFT.
of
That's it.
I'd like to receive the opportunity of the NFT, get it over my wallet, I guess.
Excuse me?
Yeah, sure.
I could not hear what you just said.
Yeah, I'd like the NFT, I guess.
You know where to contact me, so just send me a message. Actually, and that was it. Um, the end. There's also an appendix here. I'll send that to everyone later. So that was my presentation. Thank you, and questions may start now. Let me just put on voice. There. Okay. Thank you, Jan. I believe everyone can speak now.
Yeah, I do have a question. Could you pull up the PDF again, and I will go to the part I wanted to address. Okay, good.
Okay, sure. Read any of them. Lemar could go sit at citizens. Yes. I'll just make it bigger. Yes.
Okay, so I would like to focus on where was it again? 1 second, I will let it load and
Uh,
I'm trying to search the exact part. Um, hmm. Alright, it's this part. So I would like to say about this that it's not necessary to have a cryptocurrency, rather to represent your currency with a digital value, something like real country banks do, like Bank of America, you'd say, or Mastercard, stuff like that. And emission your own card if, like, if Mastercard, if you pay Mastercard, you can get your own cards, like customized design, and even if it's possible, I think you could also do a custom country stuff on the card.
While
I will have to research on that, but I the point I wanted to make is that you do not have to make a cryptocurrency to run your currency online. Rather, you can represent online currency or you can represent it by gold in real life, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you can use gold as the exchanging currency for the online currency. That's what I'm trying to say.
okay, I understand. Well, the thing is, who has a currency? Does anyone have a currency? If so, can you please say something?
I am actually developing a currency, so
Oh, okay. Well, having a well, if you use a Mastercard card, well, first of all, you need to well, just any card in general. First of all, you need to apply to a bank, and that would use well, the thing is that while it's true, yeah, you can use Mastercard or any other banking company for this. It's I don't think that's really the case because there are lots of things that having that using a debit card or credit card
is your mic is cutting out.
oh sorry
Yeah.
there are certain things that you cannot do with any debit or credit card. So let's say we host a micronational trivia. Someone left. Let's say that we do that for micronation, and as no reward, you get 1,000 whatever your currency is. Now you can't really do that because if you're using a debit card and you have to use US dollars, so you cannot really spending online with your money since you'd have to use USD or any other fiat currency. So yeah, there are lots of projects that you would have been able to do with a cryptocurrency that you could not do with the traditional banking system.
I get your point. I guess I mean I'm still trying to think about this because I really want to make a case, you know, just for my own unique thing, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, I understand that. But yeah, there are just certain things that you could do. And for example, I gave on one of the slides utility. Let me find that one. Well, for example, Mark had something to say about that. I'll take a look at the comments in the chat in a moment. But Mark, for example, um, had the service where you could make an ID card digitally, obviously, and they would pay you in. Oh, sorry, sorry for the pronunciation mistake. Um, and for example, they had jobs, volunteer jobs that you could do, like ministries, and they would pay you in that currency. Was Arctica also had a cryptocurrency? That's right, but they didn't give it any utility inside the micronation. It was only, um, it was essentially just a tender. And Australia, really. I'd like to learn more about that. But yeah, long story short, there are just certain things that are just far easier to do with a digital currency that is no longer in use. Oh, I believe, are you Australia? I don't know. I think they registered, but so yeah, new Rubik's. Okay, well, Australia actually registered for the Micro Summit, so maybe they'll attend. I don't know. So yeah, There's all kinds of things that you just cannot do with the USD or any fiat currency. Are there any other questions, or does anyone want to say anything else about the topic before we continue to the next presentation?
I guess that's about it. I will add something after or during recess, I guess.
Okay. So Poe, sorry for the way I pronounce your name. They are not in this Discord server, but some people, like for example, Jan is not in the Discord server. Not everyone is in the Discord server. So just because they're not in the server doesn't mean that they've registered. So no other questions? Then I think we can just take a break for now. Um,
Yes.
so that was it. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I hope that it educated you more about the subject. We'll have a recess until how about 15 minutes? A 15-minute recess.
Okay.
And then since Chloe has not, excuse me, we'll have a 15-minute recess, and then we'll continue with the next. Oh, by the way, you can all leave this area if you want and explore the rest of Frame VR. By the way,
Yeah. Actually, I will be chatting from now on because I don't want to get interrupted every second and called by family member. So yeah.
Oh, great. Chloe's gonna come. Attention everyone, the next presentation will start in 15 minutes, I hope, by Chloe of Sancratosia.
depending on your preference. Facebook and of course Messenger can also be considered a social media. Instagram, Tumblr, LinkedIn. These are
Okay, I'm
the
back.
main culprits. These are the ones that we consider the main social media websites. But depending on your definition, you can also add YouTube, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Reddit, Discord, TikTok, and even some wikis. Although the wikis most often, like MicroWiki, does not consider itself a social media because it does not promote the interaction with individuals. But it's still possible to do it with the talk pages and user pages and stuff like that. But it's debatable, but you get a picture of what a social media is. So which social media is the best for micronations? It depends. And that is, like the boring answer. Unfortunately, you would have, I think it would have been nice if there was, this is the best social media for micronations. Go over there and do only that, and you'll succeed. It really depends, especially because you need to target your audience. Um, and that is really important. You really need to do that exercise if you want to, be able to reach the people you want to reach. Especially, you need to know who is your audience. That is like the most important. Do you appeal to adults? Do you appeal to students? Do you appeal to teenagers? Do you try to have people um, and that comes into what does your audience want. Do your audience want memes? Does your audience want more professional statements? Does your audience like micronational warfare, even though most people would not like this? Maybe the audience you're trying to target does like it. um, so you need to take these elements into consideration. Where is your audience? Is your audience always on TikTok? Well, if they're always on TikTok, don't try to go on Twitter that much. Try to go on TikTok. So maybe you want to target people, and it depends, because in the Western world, some social medias are more popular than in Asia. So maybe you can also take that into account. What's the most popular social media within your micronation? When is your audience available? You can, sometimes, you can publish, and you can also program publications on social media. If you try to target the Western audience, publishing at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, probably not the best idea. For instance, if you are in the Eastern time zone and you try to publish something at 4 a.m. for the people in the Eastern time zone, they may not see it. And how do you reach your audience? Well, of course, that's mostly when sorry, where the social media comes into account. So how can you reach it? Well, you can create, depending on the social media, there are social medias that are oriented with visual content, some more on word content, some are um, engaged with oriented with community and stuff like that. So and we will see them. So that's how you can reach your audience. So just a sample audience that you can make. For instance, most of what we do with Sancratosia, it's we try to reach for adults, Romance language speaking, because we have lingua franca nova, which is a Romance language auxiliary language. We usually think that our people like statements. They're not, wanting more than that. It usually suffice our audience. They are usually located in the Western world. So, of course, the time zones range from Western Europe to Western coast of the US. And we reach people by our website and mostly Twitter. The rest of the other social media, you'll see why we may not do them that much. But and that's a little bit how we targeted our audience for Sancratosia. And it's a good exercise that you do that yourself, because everyone is not an audience. You cannot say, well, I want to reach everyone. There are some people that it's impossible. You cannot appeal for a teenager the same way you can appeal for a 30-year-old, and you cannot appeal to someone who is on the eastern seaboard of the United States the same way that you can appeal someone that is from Italy. So you need to understand a little bit more what is the audience you're trying to reach. You can reach many audiences. That is a possibility. So it's not, the example I showcased was one type of audience that we try, but so sometimes tailor messages for another type of audience. But usually, certain social media are not that. I mean, most social medias are not restricted with the people that are on them, but some are more popular with certain audiences. And you need to take that into account. You cannot on TikTok. You won't see that many adults. A certain age and up, it's it's getting thinner, the audience there. So if you are on TikTok and you appeal to a certain audience, you may have difficulty reaching to another maybe a more adult audience on the social media. So choosing the right social media and what are some of the advantages, some of the disadvantages of each. I've been working with social media for the past, for at least intensively for the past 3 years and a little bit more before that. I've come to understand a lot about what are the strengths of social media, of each social media, and the disadvantages of each. Plus some that I've discovered more with micronationalism, and I can put my input of a communications manager on these. Facebook offers many advantages, especially if you go and create a page. You can link a group to a page, so you could have your, micronational page, which is where you would put out your statements, you would put out your content, and then you can also forward it to a group where people are encouraged to engage, and they can engage with each other. You can see some micronations that have done that, like Flandrensis. Flandrensis have a quite sizable face link to their Facebook page. So it's really community oriented. That's always been the goal of Facebook, was to connect the people and have the people engage as if they were there. So trying to bring people closer. That is the real purpose of publications, which is not the case of every social media. So Facebook, you can really do almost anything as a publication. And the message you want to get out can be as long as you want. You can have many pictures, you can have video, you can have a lot of things to get the word out. Facebook is really uh, a really multi-purpose platform. Disadvantages. Some of the disadvantages, well, Facebook, it takes a long time to connect with people. You can create a page, you can create a group, but if you just start publishing, people won't see it in their feed. You need an established, and so you need this type of like you need a certain number of people to engage in Facebook. If you create a page and you just start, and there are some micronational groups on Facebook, but these are mostly other micronations. There's another group like people who want to join micronations, where you can just go within and publish all your message to try to get the people to be involved with their micronation. The page management is not the most user-friendly also. It has become a little bit more professionalized. Even for me as a communications manager, I have sometimes trouble getting around the finest details of Facebook management. But there are other upsides, and we'll see it later with other social media. And as Payo said, of course, Facebook is more associated now with an older generation, not as much as the younger generation. So if you try to appeal for younger generation, Facebook is definitely not the place you'd want to go. That's for sure. For the moment, that is. Twitter or X.com. It favors short messages, so it's sometimes good to have short messages. A lot of the time, when we try to have a message, it becomes much too long. And Twitter, at least with with the restrictions on characters, unless you pay for the blue check. The blue check allows you to have longer messages, but usually Facebook favors short messages, and it's good because you usually keep to the essential stuff. Less is more. So Twitter, at least on that, is really helping you. Keeping it keeping it to the essential. It's relatively easy to get followers. You can use a couple hashtags, and people will be able to see you. You will be suggested in people's feed, and once you get followers, it can get up quite easy. People at least can find you, and if you have some tweets, they can sometimes be referenced on the internet, so you may be able to see them pop up if people do a research on your micronation, for instance. It's really easy to set accounts as you want, and Twitter can manage all of them. So you can have an account for your head of state, an account for your micronation, and so you can, do what most micronations would do. So you could have a personal one and a micronational one, for instance. Disadvantages is that it favors short messages. I know it was one of the advantages of Facebook, but sometimes it's good to go in depth of your message. And if a Twitter does not promote, deep messages and trying to express, that can be a disadvantage. Most platforms don't like cross-platform publication, so that means if you want to share a tweet on Facebook, it's, by algorithms, it's not promoted as much as if you were, promoting your website or something like that. But Twitter is really applications. Sometimes when you tweet a Facebook post or another post, they will simply just show the link and they won't even show a preview. Whereas with most other websites, you would see a preview of the website. There's a lot of noise. So the noise is not only are many micronations and sometimes geofiction projects that get attention on Twitter, but there's also the trouble with the management right now where it's a bit shaky. So there's a lot of noise on that, especially since the algorithms are a little bit changing. It's a platform that if you're on it, you may try to see an alternative unless your audience is still on Twitter. A lot of the audience that you can find on Twitter are, it's mostly used by people who work and work in certain fields. You don't see the folks on Twitter. It's really rare that you go see some of your friends or some people in the street and ask, do you have a Twitter account? If they're not working and that requires a Twitter account, they usually won't have a Twitter account. It's one of the more professional place where people have used the social media. Instagram there are some advantages to Instagram. It favors, visual publication, so it's really creative. If you are so making visual contents, that is a really good platform to be. It's possible to cross-publicate with Facebook. It's all part of the Meta company, and you can manage your Instagram within the Facebook management system. So you it's possible to do it. So that can make it a very powerful tool, especially if you have a community on Facebook, but you also want to reach out to other people, which is possible on Instagram. On Instagram, you can put hashtags in. It's a little bit like Twitter, but for pictures on that side. The downsides of Instagram is that it's time intensive. Creating visuals is not as easy, especially if you want it, to be well done. You can run out of ideas really quick, or you can, take many, many, many hours to produce, very few things. The other downside of Instagram is that if you want to link something within the publication that you're trying to put out, the links don't work. You will see the web the link access, but you won't be able to click on it on Instagram. So that can hinder what you want to do. If you wanted to promote your website, it is much more difficult on Instagram than other social media. And you cannot post without a visual. If you have a good idea but you haven't had the time to create the visual, you won't be able to. So that can be injuring you in times of trying to react quickly. Let's say your focus is on micronational emergency stuff and you want to publish quickly. You can't on Instagram. It's not possible unless you have all the visual ready and that you can publish in real time, for instance. Although it's not the purpose of the social media, if that's something you want to do, it would be really difficult on Instagram to do. Reddit, we have to talk about it because there's a kind of sizable community on Reddit of micronations. So it's really oriented on the engagement with users. So it only post about their microdit, and so you can have your own community that interacts, and you can have some control on that community. There are sizable communities, but yes, Payo, you 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 kind of rubbed me of the presentation there, but yes, it is prone to social media warfare. It is focused on meme culture. It's one of the places where, so if that's your audience, if you want to publish a lot of memes, if you want that type of content and you think that your audience wants that type of content, Reddit can be the ideal platform for you. And you also have a dependency on others. Let's say you are on one of the one of the big micronational groups within the in one of the subreddits. If people dislike you, they can decide to gang on you and always dislike your post, and you won't be able to get the word out. So you have a kind of a dependency on others, which is not possible really with Twitter. People cannot downvote, which is something that can happen on Reddit. But overall, yes, if you have a sizable community and you want them to interact and maybe they're not into Facebook, because that's a possibility. We talked about the generation gap with Facebook. Reddit could be a place where you create your own subreddit for your micronation, and your citizens could interact over there if that's something that you like. But of course, there are other social media platforms that have come into existence that are more popular, and Discord is probably the one which it changed a lot changed a lot of things in the micronational community. It's discussion based, so it's really trying to engage people talking. There's a lot of control on your own server. I mean, sky is the limit mostly. There's a lots of features. It does things that no other social media does. People can play together. People can talk. Have threads that you can create like forums, and there's just so many functionalities in Discord that it's become a social media almost must for micronations. Even older generations have created. It's getting there in micronations. But it's still westernized. Some micronationalists in other parts of the world don't really use Discord. It depends where. I know it will be the application of choice for communication. It won't be Discord. Discord is still not as popular there. So if you try to appeal to South American folks, well, they probably won't join Discord now, or at least you may have to convince them to do it. But there are some disadvantages on Discord. It usually requires constant attention. There is, this idea that there's this idea that if there's no discussions on a Discord, that the Discord is dead. But I mean, each Discord should correspond to what it needs. But it's sure that it's not engaging for someone who wants to engage in a community to see that no one is engaging in that server, especially since there are lots of them. But of course, there's also a little bit of micronational warfare with Discord raids. So that can be a big disadvantage for you. And there are not that many communities in the way that if you want to get the word out to other people, it's much harder if you only use Discord, because you need to find servers where there are many people, and there are not that many micronations. Twitter, on Instagram, you may see people who are searching for micronations, and they may stumble upon your micronation. But if you only publish in, for instance, to take one microwiki at Discord, if you only publish stuff about your micronation over there, it's mostly other micronationalists who will see that. So if we speak about getting the word out, Twitter or Instagram are still, better choices, because people who search for micronations on these platforms will find you. Can't say the same about Facebook. I probably can't say people like you. And others, video based mostly. I've put a picture of a YouTube logo, but it could be TikTok also. It's a passive content, which means that people don't have to read. Reading can be, depending on how you write, it can be difficult for some people to often understand your message. There's no intonation. There's no, you can really sometimes the text, which is not the case with video, because people will see you and people will or at least people will hear you. There's a greater depth of message, of course, because you have the intonation of the person. You have if you film yourself, you have the visual body language that comes into play. There's not that many micronations that produce regular video content. So usually if you're one that does it, it's probable that someone will know about it, and that it will be seen, and people, you won't be drowned into the noise instance, of the many micro-edit that can happen on YouTube. There's just a few micronations that have a YouTube channel, and if you produce good content, you will gain followers. That's for sure. But it's time consuming. Making a video is no easy task. As platforms that accept, or are focused on video, the standard of quality is high, and you quickly lose interest of a bad video. And the attention span of people is around 15 to 20 minutes. With a video that is, and even 20 minutes can be it needs to be dedicated people if your video is not of quality. But if you have the resources and you have the time, we've seen Micronation succeed on the back of YouTube, and it's possible at work, and it's, the time that you spend on YouTube, for instance, producing your video, uploading your video, is, I think, time um, you're not putting on your micronation and trying to build your community, because it needs your undivided attention when you create a video. And lastly, essentials of communication, because getting the word out, it's good if you want to look at the social medias, and maybe now you have a better understanding or a better idea of which social media you should try next, or maybe you should abandon. Maybe you say, oh well, I have a Facebook page, it's maybe not as useful as I thought, or maybe you say, I may want to go to Instagram. It corresponds to maybe the type of people that I'm trying to reach. But then, of course, there's once you have chosen your social media, there are things to take into account, and those are the essentials of communication. So, of course, getting the word out, it's important to understand that these 8 elements come into play when you try to put the word out. There's the source, that's you. If you're angry or if you're calm, the message won't be the same. So it's always a good idea to try to, unless you are really angry and you want it to come to go angry, but try to be in the right side of, in the same uh, same mindset as you'd want the person to receive it. So if you if you want a publication to sound calm, you need to be calm. If you want a publication to sound angry, you should be angry. Then there's the message. Words matter, so try to use the right words. There's sometimes a small difference between using one word or the other. So it's important to consider the message in itself. The channel. If you are on Twitter and your message is getting too long, you will have to make some sacrifices on the message. So it's important to take that into account, that maybe if you want a longer thing, then Twitter is not the right platform for you to publish that. Maybe try to write something on your website and publish a link to your website, like a blog post on your website, and link that to Twitter. That can be a way to, use the channel correctly, but also get the message out correctly. You have to consider the receiver. If it's midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., it's possible that for other people, it's not possible. It is the case that your people in your time zone are going to be at the same time. Maybe they're tired at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and they'll be tired when they receive your message, and they may react accordingly. That's where feedback comes into play. And feedback is many things. Feedback is not just the people that like your tweet, for instance, or like your publication or comment to your publication. It's people who do not. Let's say you have 500 followers on Twitter, you publish something and there are no reactions. That is a feedback, and you should take that feedback into account, into considering, have I done something? Is there something missing? what should I do to, have a better message next time. The environment, this is, um, uh, where you are, and where you are really going to school in the morning when you publish the tweet. So it's environment that can disturb you, and the environment that the other person can have. Maybe if there's a tornado warning, the person may not be receiving a publication about how the weather is beautiful today near your region, for instance. But it happens. The context is a bigger context in environment. For instance, if there's a big event happening, probably that your message won't get the same attraction as if there are no events that day. One of the best examples of that is uh, I mean, when there's a huge event, um, the only example that I have, it's a funny anecdote. It's the TV show Doctor Who. Its first episode was just after Kennedy was shot in the U.S., and no one saw the first episode. And so that's because the context was not there for people to receive a new TV show. So they did a rerun of the episode 1 the next week, so people could really see it for the first time. So that's an example of how context can influence your communication. And interference is the noise, the other micronations that may try to get the same word out. I remember when the situation in Ukraine started, a lot of micronations were doing these types of publications, and so it may be publications either agreeing on either side or disagreeing with the other side and stuff like that. And there was a lot of interference on that, so maybe your message was not seen as much as the other messages. Same when Queen Elizabeth II died, many messages were almost the same, and maybe your feedback was not the one you expected. But you can understand that there was interference on these days because of that. So I hope this gave you a small overview of certain social medias, and that it gave you an insight on how you can try to get the word out. There are many other places where you can try to get the word out. I know that Dracul is also having a podcast with micro improvements with the Spotify for podcasters. You can try to get people interested in a newsletter. That is also a way that you can reach people. There are WhatsApp groups that can be created, groups that can be created within your with your citizens. There are many social media websites that you can try and experiment with. There's the new Threads that has been started by Meta, and unfortunately haven't had the time to check that one yet. So social media, there are many, and it's really easy to say, okay, I want to reach everyone, and I'll be on Facebook, I'll be on Twitter, I'll be on Instagram, I'll be on YouTube, I'll be there. But you cannot do that. Even as a professional, I cannot do that. I have to choose which social media is the best for the message. And with our nonprofit, sometimes I have to say, well, this can only be on Twitter, it cannot be on Facebook, it cannot be on Instagram, it cannot be anywhere else. And so these choices we make professionally, and you should make them with your micronation. You should sometimes consider that it's not possible to publish everywhere, and it's not appropriate that you publish everywhere. So I hope that's one of the things that you get from that presentation, that sometimes less is more, and try to figure out your audience. And from that, you would be able to get a better understanding of where you should publish and which social media you should decide to invest your time in. Thank you. Are there questions?
Well, I just like to say one thing quickly. So you briefly covered threads for a while.
Mhm.
Although there has been some people with issues about it since the EU has not approved it yet.
Mhm.
What do you think about the meta side of things, since it's not really known for for being the best, most handling privacy and data very well? So, from that perspective, do you think that it's a good idea to use Meta, like the platforms that it has, that being Facebook and Thread?
For now, I don't have that much. I don't have really an idea about Threads because it's as I said, it's not a platform that I've used that much, and it's unfortunately one platform that is only usable with an application on your phone. And so I've not I didn't come up with a micronational account on Threads because I need to keep my account free for work just in case, or at least my phone free for work just in case. Um, and so, compared to most other social websites, you have the possibility to, use the social media with a web-based application, a browser-based application, so you can publish on Instagram without the you can log in into Instagram on a browser and publish like this. Same with Facebook, same with Twitter. But Threads, so far, from what I've heard, it's only mobile based, and so that is for me hindering a little bit the work that I can do with micronations. And having personal accounts and professional accounts, having micronational accounts is a big step still for a mobile-based application for me.
Okay, I see.
But if it's still not approved in Europe, of course, it's probably not the best platform if you want to reach out to a European audience.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure.
Okay. Good to know. Thanks.
Yes. It can also, it's not, you can have questions about, communications work also. If you don't have any about social media, it can be related, sometimes writing a message is, something I do every day professionally. So if you have any questions about that, it can also be. If you don't, it's okay. Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you for that presentation. I think that it was really well designed and formulated, and also insightful into the world of communications. Okay, well, that was the presentation of Chloe. We will move on to the presentation of Prince Stephen of Jakul. I already see he has his mic on.
Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
All right, perfect.
Hello.
Glad I could get it the first time. You always get on new technology and you're like, is this going to work or are we going to have issues?
I'll prepare your PowerPoint. Where is it? Downloads. Microsoft. There. Can you press on those arrow buttons, Stephen?
Where are they located at? On my keyboard?
No, they're on the screen. So,
Oh, I see them now.
yeah, so that's how you go to the next and previous slide.
Okay, perfect. How's everyone doing today?
Doing well.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks for everyone for having me and for attending. This presentation today is on Mark Your Sovereignty. My apologies for it still saying President Stephen Luke. It's been a while since I've updated it, but I didn't feel it necessary to update because all the information still rings true to this day. So we're going to be talking about marking your sovereignty and micronationalism. What I mean by that specifically, of course, we'll get into is the importance of designating your borders in micronationalism, marking where your borders start and where they end, and the importance of that. So we're going to talk today in this presentation about the history of land borders, the importance of your borders, how to establish them, and preserving your sovereignty with others involved. So before we get started, just a little bit of history. Defined borders, the way that countries have it today, drawn out on maps. Kind of like if you look at a country on Google Maps or any map of that matter, and you see the entire thing outlined, that's actually a relatively new concept because most of the 20th century, the world was still wide open territory. So the borders for a lot of countries, if they were there, they were loosely undefined or completely undefined. So it's not new as in, oh, they were just made 10 years ago. But again, up until the latter half of the 20th century, they really weren't defined that well. So borders, of course, as many of us know, they are established through warfare, sorry, I can't speak today, colonizing others, or mutual agreements between the political entities that reside in those areas. And the creation of these agreements is called boundary delimitation. So, can anyone name a macro country without a border? There are no countries in the world that operate on a fully open border system. Not today. Borders are required for sovereignty and establishing a nation's beginning and an end. Disputed borders are one thing. However, not having them at all simply makes no sense today. There are very rare exceptions of what is considered a country without a border, but still being considered a country. And that one exception would probably be the Sovereign Military Order of Malta. They are a very rare exception. If you're not familiar with them, they are a country that does not actually have land, but they are recognized by the United Nations. So you might want to take a look into them. And they are not to be confused with Malta, the island near Italy. They are actually their own country, the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, having very special country status, as I said, with the United Nations. You might want to look into them. It's a very interesting history of them. So, what do you do for establishing borders? That's the main question. So the first step, of course, is knowing your claims. Make sure you know where you're claiming land. Google Maps is your friend. I always suggest that people always take a good look on the area that they typically point to on a map. So make sure that you see the claims. Make sure that you can actually see it clearly on a map. And try and visit it in person if you can. It's always nice to be able to visit the place that you claim, be able to physically go there. It's not always possible, but when you can, certainly visit. And then, of course, the third step is marking the claim. Now, there's a special one out there that some of you might not be aware of. It's called Google My Maps, not Google Maps, but Google My Maps. They can actually allow you to draw borders on a map. So it's like Google Maps, but it gives you basically like a pencil tool. And you can actually draw. You can make any shape you want around a specific area, and then you can name it. And you can even put like mark states or provinces or territories within that area or even outside of it, anywhere in the world. And you can send that map to people or post it on a website. And they'll see Google Maps, but instead of seeing, for instance, Houston, Texas, or a small neighborhood of Houston, Texas, or a park, they're going to see your country and your labels on it instead. So that's a very nice tool to be able to designate where your borders start and end, including your territories and your states, and having the little tags, the little names above them. It really helps out a lot instead of having to, screenshot and then go into a paint program and draw that way. It's very neat. And if you can, as I said, physically mark the territory, the beginning and the end, with signs or posts. So if you, for instance, say it's your property, you actually own it. Even though you own the property, you might not consider that entire property your country. So be very specific. If it's your bedroom, then mark at the front door that of your bedroom that's where your country begins. You're marking your border. So that's just another example of how you could do it. Physical examples of claims. We all know, of course, Kevin Ball, president of Molossia. He literally, as you can see in that photo, has a marker indicating where the United States and Molossia meet, where it starts and ends. That's an example of how you could mark where your sovereignty claim, where your borders begin and end. So, for instance, Dracul, as many of you know, we have a city park that we claim as our territory. So, since we can't actually physically go in there and mark our locations, we have to use indicators that are already there, landmarks, if you will. Now, you can't really see it this well in this photo, if at all, but at the very end of that road back there, there's a bridge. You can kind of see the bridge wall. Well, right in front of the bridge wall, there's stop signs. There are gates that you can roll shut. So there's one on the left, one on the right. You roll them towards one another, and they create a closed gate. There's stop signs on those gates. That's basically the indicator of once you go past those, you're in Dracul. And that's how we do that. Okay. So, of course, as I said, it's important that a micronation do the same, because if macronations are going to claim territory and mark it, do so. But why is it important? Why is it important? Failing to do so can lead to other micronations accidentally or intentionally claiming your areas. We see that from time to time in micronationalism, where somebody says, I'm claiming this area of the world, or I'm doing the same thing. A great example of that would be Bertwell. Lots of micronations claim parts or all of that area. But if they all came together, I'm claiming this little section of it, and then the section of it, it would make it a lot more clear instead of everyone just saying, well, I'm claiming bird to well. Okay, well, what part of that are you claiming? Be specific. And that way you don't have to say, well, I'm just because they're claiming it too, but I claimed it first. Well, you could, and then you can all claim it, but have specifically marked areas within it, and then it won't be such a hot button issue. It won't be such a conflict, if you will. Action that's already been claimed, and then it'll be intentional. It'll be a troll. It'll be an individual that's upset. I already claimed this area. Yeah, well, I'm claiming it too. So what are you going to do about it? Well, if someone does that, if someone claims land, host a meeting, you can try to negotiate with them. If they don't want to, or if they want to be, childish about it, ignore them. Just ignore them. But like I said, the importance of borders. Why is it important? If we want to be taken as seriously as macro nations, the ones that are UN recognized, if we want to be taken as serious as them, we must perform the same actions. All right, so sovereignty and borders. Sovereignty is the supreme power of authority, the authority of a state to govern itself or another state, or a self-governing state. That's sovereignty. But what are borders, and how do they line up with that? Well, border areas, especially countries, the edge or boundary of something or the part near it. Now, you put those together, they go hand in hand. Sovereignty and borders go hand in hand. One gives the ability for the other. You cannot have one, can't draw borders without authority, and you can't have sovereignty if you don't have claims. So I am clicking the arrow, and I believe that is the end of it. Our presentation today on Mark Your Sovereignty. Are there any questions? But short is sweet. And thank you again. I think that's the end of it. Thank you for your time today. And this concludes my presentation for today.
Thank you for your presentation.
It's up to you. I'm finished presenting. I didn't get any questions, at least not yet. So
Okay. Okay. So for all attendees, 15-minute break, and then we will. So how do I draw a map on Google My Maps, Stephen? Is there?
yes. So basically, if you just go to google.com and you type in Google My Maps, or the first one that'll say My Maps.
Yeah.
And then once you go there, there's a little button in the top left corner that will say Create a New Map. Once you click on Create a New Map, it'll basically open up what it looks like Google corner, there'll be a little box. You can create layers. I would suggest that the layers be used because you can designate within the map things like I had mentioned, states or provinces or territories or whatever the case may be. You really put anything you want in there. The more because if you just draw the border of your country and the areas all around it, that works. But if you've got states or provinces, you will want to mark in the map where those start and end as well, to be more specific. You can also put on there things like things of that sort. It's a little self-explanatory, but if you have any questions, just find a way to contact me with outside of this program. I could probably sit down for a bit and kind of give you a little tutorial exactly how to do it.
Okay, well, I think that if anyone else has another question for Stephen, then I think that wraps up the presentation. Thank you, Stephen, for coming here. It was a really interesting presentation. Send
That'll
us
be
to
fine.
Okay, great. Okay, well, if there aren't any other questions, then we're gonna have a 15-minute break.
Yes, the schedule may be shorter than what we planned. Or in later time zones, they'll be able to stay with us until then. And tomorrow there's Jürgen Schwartz's presentation. Lucas, can you remember me the time?
I believe at 2 UTC, perhaps. Let me take a look.
Okay, yeah.
1 UTC.
1 UTC. Great. Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So 1 UTC. Cool. Okay, yeah.
Shall we start right now with the Casalia presentation and then have a break until awards?
Yes, that is. Yeah, that can work.
Okay. Okay. Well, show's yours, Israel.
It's up to you if you want to take some time. We'll be there for you. Great.
Alright, so this is my presentation. 1 second. Now this is the warnings before the presentation. Like, you should have a recording program and just the general stuff. And obviously this will be live on the government YouTube channel, which it already is, and please refrain from using any terms that may strike the channel. Now the purpose of the state is to bring objective fairness and justice, bring and ensure that there is truth on the table, and these two means that I want to ensure that there is always fairness and justice across, let's say, the world, because it matters to me that every human being has is acted upon with impartial justice and a bit of fairness and morality and everything that is good, so to say. And I want to ensure the security of humankind with inventions and ensure security of balances of specific forms. For example, harmful knowledge and good knowledge, like the knowledges of such things or other kinds of balances, like this kind of thing. And then the purpose of the state also is to kill discrimination with effective methods and all forms of ideologies or studies that harm the unity of mankind for the sake of harmony between all human beings and ensure the security of all lives. Now this is self-explanatory, but the first part, discrimination, it's a very important critical point of the state, which means that I will be trying to assess this situation in the most effective methods that I can think of by myself. And these methods will be revealed after the first law has been passed. now the constitution is supreme in the state, and it is unchangeable. However, the constitution is interpretable by the authorities as was decreed by the king and by the king himself as well. Now that means that only certain authorities can interpret the constitution. However, it has to be within constitutional bounds, which means that the constitution and the interpretation must be one and the same. However, it must also have extra language in the interpretation to expand upon the details of the constitution. And about the development of the interpretation act, I am still developing this law project, and this soon will be revealed too after the presentation is finished, after the summit has finished. Now, as for the structure of the state the first section contains the royal families, the second levels of government, which means the national, the provincial, and the municipality, and the branches of government, and etc. As you can see here. Sorry, 1 second. Now, why is a royal family? Um, I decided that this is the most proper form of the first state to exist of my own, because all countries start off as kingdoms, and now the argument could be made that the United States did not start as a kingdom, but we have to know that the United States is a descendant state. It is a descendant country from the United Kingdom, which proves my case that every country starts off as a kingdom. And the other details about the king, queen, and the rest people is that 1 second, I need to breathe. The thing about the king and queen is that they are sometimes equivalent and sometimes they aren't. This will be expanded upon in the interpretation, but what this means basically is that if say the king marries a woman, a queen who is outside of the royal family, the king has absolute power. However, if the queen is from the royal family and is included, then not in the means after the marriage, but rather before marriage. If the queen was part of the royal family and is again the part, then they may have equivalent decision making. However, the king will still have the final decision, so to say. And the same thing goes with the queen, except if the queen is appointed first, like before the king, then the queen and the king who she chooses, if the king is from the royal family, have equivalent decision making laws, I guess, orders and such things. Now, about the council of trustees, this is elected by the royal family. This is to ensure that the royal family is checked every time they do something, every time something happens. This is to make sure that there is no corruption within the royal family, and they can also dethrone the king, the queen, the entire royal family, and establish a republic, which means that the council of trustees is exactly made for the purpose of destroying monarchy when it is necessary. Now, the advisory to the royal family is a body which advises the royal family to do or not to do things. And declaration forms mean that the king or the queen can announce laws, cases, or orders by verbally or by written form. And the king and queen both equivalently have the ability to write law, executive orders, and judge or appeal any law, order, or case. Now, I already said about the levels of government, but the reason for this is to have more autonomous divisions within the country. Autonomy is an important prospect to me, so there are three types of governments: the national, the provincial, and the municipal governments. Now, why are those branches in this section? As I've explained previously, what happens when a person is arrested? They first go to the executive branch. They are arrested by the police, which belongs to the executive branch. and the legislative branch makes laws. So the branch is jumped up to the judicial branch, which means that when a criminal gets arrested, they are arrested by the executive branch and then taken to the judicial branch's respective division or court. Now there are chiefs of these branches, despite having a king in the country, and this is to to make the government more autonomous and more able if the king and queen were to disappear or were dethroned. That is the purpose of the chiefs. Now we will be moving on first to the judicial branch, then the legislative, and then the executive. As a judicial branch, we have 8 courts: constitutional, supreme, appellate, provincial, municipal, district, family, and magistrate courts. And these courts are many in number because there are types of crimes and there are types of situations that need to be dealt with on different scales, like provincial and municipal, for example, are repeat offenses or such things, and the rest may be explained in the interpretation. And there are chief justices, judges, and magistrates. These are the first two are not common terms. However, judges and magistrates are the most common terms in the lower courts, and rarely the higher courts, like say the supreme or appellate, but not constitutional. But again, this will be further written about in the in the interpretation. In the legislative branch, we have the national, provincial, and municipal parliaments, again for further autonomy of the states' divisions. And in each parliament, we have the speaker, the representative, and the members of parliament who may belong to parties. The speaker cannot belong to any political party as to not have any bias in the parliament of any level, be it national, provincial, or municipal. Now, the executive branch is more expanded upon because it's important to realize the structure of the executive and maybe the judicial more than any other thing, because you are providing almost everything from the executive branch. For example, the internal affairs deals with birth certificates or any kind of certificate whatsoever, and licenses and such things. Then the foreign affairs deals with diplomacy and such things. Education and culture does its own thing, and the rest does its own thing. Basically, the economy and sustainable development, finance, health, justice, defense, and sciences ministries. And the positions in this branch are the prime minister, deputy minister, subordinate minister, which means this subordinate minister is subordinate to the minister only, which means they are for a municipality. So the structure of ministry is such that the minister is of the national government, deputy of the of the provincial, and subordinate of the municipality. And then we have the governor and mayor. Governor respectively for the province, and mayor for the mayor for the municipality. Now, the Council of Advisory is given by default to all positions of the government, but they can be removed if the relevant authority does not need an advisory or does not feel like wanting an advisory. The lowest division of the advisory is electable by public, the rest is not, but is elected by the authority that needs that division or advisor. and the advisors have the right to approach and advise an authority figure and engage in private or group conversation with an authority figure. Now, the Council of Trustees is elected by the royal family, as I said previously, and they dictate the royal family according to the royal family's own morals and possibly even their own ideology or religion or such things, as to keep them in check, to be within their righteous mind, so to say, and to keep them able to be the king, the queen, etc. And they control the royal family to not commit high-level crimes against humanity, and etc. And again, as I said previously, they have the ability to dethrone the king and or queen and declare the king's written succession list even illegitimate if there is evidence and reason to react in that way. Now, the miscellaneous information I'd like to share is April 4th is National Self-Awareness Day for my own state. June 24th is both the day of the Constitution of the state I have established and the day of sovereignty of the state, and the day of symbolism is a varying day. That day when the end of a week is the same as the start of a month, which means Sunday. And that's about it. Thank you for listening. We hope that Xalia will be given a chance by the populace, and we wish to build safe, critically thinking communities everywhere. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for your presentation, Israel. We will now take a 20-minute break. Feel free to walk around, explore any other areas of the Frame VR, talk with others. If you see a blue line, kind of a blue square usually, that means that it is a private voice zone. You can have private conversations in there. This first 20 minutes we will have the award ceremony, but for the following 20 minutes, feel free to talk and mingle.
I would like to ask if anyone has any questions so far as to how this all works, or whatever else you may be interested in about the state. And also, please keep in mind that I'm trying to do my best in considering every possibility of basically everything, as to combat any faults that most nations tend to have. So please keep that in mind. Thank you. If there are any questions, you can ask me right now, and I will be happy to answer.
And thank you. So, I mean, I for one want to talk to people, and of course, if people have questions about micronations or general topics and stuff like that. So, I'm so glad to see so many of you today. So, especially for the people who are here for the first time, and people who were there last year. It's also nice to see you again. I see that Cicely is over here, and I think it's Renato back there. Thank you for
Renato.
being there. Yeah, thank you for being there again.
It's not Renato. It's
Oh, it's not.
It's a citizen of poets.
Oh, cool. Well,
Yeah.
it's nice to have someone from Poets again
Yeah.
this year. Yeah.
Well, there are not going to be any other presentations today, so everyone can just chat. Or
Which is, and for those who haven't been to Microcon yet, and I think, well, Archer could probably tell you about it, but most time in Micronational conferences is spent talking about anything and everything, not just about micronation. So we can also talk about what's happening in what you're doing and the projects that you do and stuff like that. But it's really nice if you have big projects coming with micronations. We want to hear about it. It's a good moment to mingle and talk with each other. So how is everyone?
Well, I'm good, and I'd like to ask, how does everyone fancy the flag? Like, do you like the flag?
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
It's an Orthodox cross in
Yeah.
golden and the red and white stripes as to symbolize the clothes wear that um, our Lord and Savior wore before the crucifixion.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
just to remind anyone that you can just feel free to walk around and
Yeah.
explore the entirety of Frame VR.
Yeah.
How do you find Frame VR, Stephen?
It's very interesting. It kind of reminds me of Second Life.
Yeah, there are some real impressions of Second Life. Yes.
Not bad at all, especially for something like this. It's nice
Yeah.
instead of just seeing text or hearing
Yeah.
audio, get to see
Yeah.
a visual.
Exactly. That's what and it's Lucas who had the idea and approached me last year, and I was like, well, it's and having been to Microcon, I'm like, yeah, well, most of Microcon is not spent, sitting on a chair and listening to presentations. It's spent talking with people and meeting in the lobby and talking about everything and anything, and so. It's just nice to be able to move around and talk with other people, and that's just been a really fun thing to do, and a fun idea that Lucas had. And I hope there's going to be more of these types of events so people can mingle more, and because I feel that sometimes we're all in the same people, so these types of
This event, throughout the years, the more
Mhm.
people are going to learn about it,
Oh, sure,
and
sure.
you'll get more and more people every year attending them. And
Yeah.
that's the way it is. You got to start somewhere. But I know this is the second time you've done
Yeah.
this, correct?
Yes, it's still. I think a lot of people would have been interested in coming this year, but because of the two microcons, a lot of people were like just too busy going and organizing or stuff like that. So unfortunately, we were not able to have as many as we may have expected. But I'm still glad that the people are there still, and it's just not me and Lucas.
Absolutely.
And I've recorded a part of your presentation before I was unfortunately logged out, but at least I have a small sample. If you want, I'll probably be able to if the file is not corrupted. Yeah.
I recorded every presentation actually, so
Oh, cool.
yeah, as a backup just in case.
Oh, sure, that's cool. Because last time I think we unfortunately didn't record that much, so we didn't have you asked I remember that you asked about recordings or stuff like that, but this time I was like, no, I'm not gonna miss the opportunity to record. That's for sure. Because I mean, it helps people to understand what we're doing and what the event is and stuff like that. And thanks for your presentation; it was really interesting.
Appreciate you having me.
And if you come to Microcon in 2025, do you have an idea of a presentation you might want to do, or are you going to just take the conference for the first time and wait before presenting?
Probably gonna get a feel for it first.
Oh yes, Jan, thank you for your website. I mean, you were there. You were there at, I think, the first or the second Microcon, correct? Or was it somebody else from Jan that was there?
Jan is having lots of mic issues.
Yes. I'm asking for the chat. I can.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
I don't mind reading, but at least I can. I asked the question by by voice. Yeah, not sure if it was but it was one of the firsts. So it was you, right? Oh yes, cool, cool. Well, nice to have you here. Thank you. And I see that Cicely is here too. Hello again. Do you have mic issues or something like that? Oh, you're at work. Yes, well, of course. It's and Archer, how was Micro Euro Summit?
It was amazing. We had 25 people participating from also the foreign minister of Ushupis and academic from the University of Mainz in Germany. She will also be in Belgium in 2 weeks. Yeah, it was
Well
great.
done.
Yes.
I always say that, if I'm going to be a part of something, then, I got to my own weight, got to help support the community. We all have to support one another in some way or another. I don't want to just take from the community. I want to, give back. And that's just one of the many ways I did it. Makes me feel good about myself, but it also makes me feel good to see that the community itself improves, because there's always some aspect that needs to be worked on in some way or another in anything, not just micronationalism, but anything. If I'm going to be a part of the community, then I want to help. So that's my way of doing it.
It's a nice way to do it, because it's entertaining. Also, it's not just factual; it's entertaining as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the good thing, of course, the thing I love about the podcast is, even if you're not there right at 7:00 on Friday, you can go back literally any time at all, and see what you missed.
And it's going to be there for people, to go back to many years from now. So
exactly.
Hopefully.
Oh yeah. We're not taking it down. We're keeping it up, and like you said, and that's the great thing too. Like you said, people can go back to it. If somebody joins micronationalism tomorrow and they don't, and they're confused and they need advice or something like that, they can go back to last year's episodes and literally get caught up within a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can binge listen to Micro Improvement.
Yeah. You definitely could. Yeah. I just want to say, since everybody's now rallying around here in the lobby, I'm very impressed, Arthur, with not just your with your commitment of having your convention recently, but I'm very impressed with your nation, with the professionalism of it, of the uniforms, of the structure. You don't really see a lot of commitment from people like that in micronationalism, and I think that's to be commended.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we try to do our best. It is, of course, it needs many time and many work. It pays off in the end to invest time, money.
It does.
Yeah.
And it shows. It shows that you care about it, and you're not just doing things and dropping things, and you push things all the way to the end, and it really shows that you have commitment and dedication to Dictionary.
Yeah, thank you.
So hopefully I'll see you soon. I'm trying to there's so many things we can do, and after 2 back-to-back microcons in the US, I'm eager to go to Europe, and I know that Aigues Mortes has the Bal du Godet d'Or. I know that there's so many European events, and
Yes.
I'll try to, if it's not during an event, at least try to make a good trip in Europe and try to meet a couple people, and I would love to meet you for sure. So
yeah,
we'll be in touch, because next summer I'm looking at what I'm doing, and Europe is definitely on my radar.
Yeah, it would be cool to meet you in Europe. Yeah, I will
Yes.
be in Montreal. I will try to, but
Oh yes, yeah, of course. I mean, if you come to 2025 also, it will be great to. I hope we can see many of you in 2025. Montreal is because I was a tour guide for 7 years in Montreal, and I'll do something special for attendees, like a small touristic guide of Montreal, and of the things that I enjoy and the things that you should do, and try to reduce the hype and get you to unusual places that are maybe worth more than the major touristic ones. But Montreal is a wonderful city just to visit, and I hope that people won't be there just for the weekend, and that if people can, they'll extend their vacation at least 1 week in Montreal if possible. And I would love to take some people on a tour before or after, depending on how tired I am. But having the chance of hosting MicroCon with other people, and I remember that again from Micro Improvements, Jordan said that Slabovia had about 10-15 people, so that's how they were able to not be too tired at the end of it. I know that at least having three person organizing it helps a lot, and I'm trying to bring on board some other people. And Erica, we also has Jenny and stuff like that. So we hope we will have the manpower to not be too tired at the end of it.
Yeah, at the Micro Summit, you also had 3 people in the organizing committee. This was important, not just to do everything alone. That's hard.
Oh no, and yes, but I see that dictionary when you do things, you always have people. So I'm like you must have had help to for your Micro Euro Summit, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I was the person of dictionary in the organizing committee, and was president Sir Anson of Obscurium, and the privy councillor of Obscurium.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I swear these androids, these avatars, whatever you want to call them, they creep me out. I just see heads.
I know. This is. I know that the Republic of Poets uses another type of metaverse where people are like full-bodied individuals. So there are other platforms, but I think this one is really user-friendly, and it doesn't take too much to understand what it is, and so at least for that, I think it's good for an event like this one.
Oh, without a doubt. No, I definitely agree with that. And it's nice that you're able to just jump right into it. You don't have to do so much to get it to work.
Yeah, that's the thing that when I discovered Frame VR with Lucas, I was like, yeah, it's you jump right in and it's easy, and it's not it's not the platform that because I remember, I think the it's I can't remember what's the platform that the Republic of Poets use, but it's
Spatial.
Oh yeah, spatial. And spatial, you have a really not complicated, but really more in-depth avatar creation, and you can spend a lot of time there. And then once you're there, it's but at least you're full-bodied and stuff like that. But Frame VR was more user-friendly, I think, than spatial.
There, now look less like a robot.
Yes. That's cool.
Perhaps we could do the awards and then continue with just chit chat.
Oh, yes, we can do that also, and I would love to talk with Tubac in français. We'll find a room and maybe talk if you have some time, Tubac.
Bonjour.
Allô.
Allô, bonjour.
Ça va bien?
Oui, ça va. Et vous?
Oui, ça va très bien. Merci.
Oh, we can hear you, by the way.
What?
We can hear you, by the way. Just.
Oh yes. We'll take a small room after the award ceremony to chat in français.
On peut aller dans mon stand si vous voulez.
Hein?
On peut aller dans mon stand si vous voulez.
Ah oui. Mais on va aller faire la cérémonie de... Ah ben oui, votre stand, ben oui. Ah bon, on peut... We will be there in a minute for the award ceremony.
So, Yan, can you briefly run down the history of Yan? Since I know it dates back to quite a long time ago. The officially 2000, I believe you said. Would you mind briefly typing that out?
On aura l'occasion de démontrer, j'imagine, plus tard.
Mhm.
Okay, so do we head back to the presentation room or Lucas? Do we head out to the presentation rooms or?
Oh, sorry, realized my mic was off. So let's go to the other rooms. Just follow me.
Niemand.
Shall we start?
Yes, you can start.
Okay. Well, we're now going to host the award ceremony. If anyone would like to present an award to anyone, please put off your mic or type in the chat what the award is called and who it is awarded to. And if you would like, you can send an email to contact@digimicrosummit.info. I will also put it in the chat with an image of the award if you have that, so we can display it if you'd like.
I apologize. People like me are very slow. Could you repeat that instruction again?
Sure, no problem. So we're not gonna have the award ceremony. You can award an award to whoever you like, if you have if you'd like to. You can send an email to me. I'll put it in the chat. And if you don't have an image of the award, whether that be a digital um file or a photo of a physical award, doesn't matter if it's just a certificate or not. But if you have an image of it, and if you'd like, then we can display it on the wall behind me, so everyone can see it. And you can also say out loud or via chat who the award goes to.
All right, I'll send you an email here in just a second.
to give out this time around, but still, the first medal that I give is the medal for participation at DG Micro Summit. It's of course, if you received it last year, you can you won't receive it again. You can have one for 2022 and one for 2023. Thanks again for participating, people who are participating for the first time. And if we ever meet in person, I will have a physical award for you. It's just that shipping and stuff can be costly to send out awards. But if we ever meet in person, I'll gladly give you a physical exemplary of it. It will be my pleasure to do it. And the other one is the Order of the Sovereign. It's the highest dynastic award in Sancretosia, so it's just below the state awards. And it's usually given out to people who either personally help me or personally help the Principality of Sancretosia. And Lucas, it's a well-deserved award for you. You've been helping me a lot with lots of stuff, and I wish I had more time to give to the Micro Summit, and you handled my absence really well with all the preparations for Microcon, and then coming back from Microcon with a back injury, which was not good, but you held the fort and you made sure that DG Micro Summit was once again a summit that was appreciated by attendance. So thank you very much for being there and helping me getting through this.
Thanks, Chloe. Thank you for your words and for the award. Thank you.
And the same applies for you. And I may actually be able to get that one to you with Dominic, depending on his luggage ability. But you may be able to receive it physically this year at Microcon EU.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks. Thank you. Nicole, would you like to go next?
No, I'm just kidding. Yes. Thank you all for sticking around and attending this wonderful virtual event we have here. As you can all see here to the left of the room where I'm located, we have here a physical medal. Some of you might be aware of this medal. Some of you may not. For those who are not aware, this is part of a series. Part of a series. Two medals. As a matter of fact, it's part of the citation of the dragon. Originally, it was named the Order of the Dragon. We're actually considering transforming it back to an order again with knighthood. But at the present time, it is a citation. It comes in 2 tiers, as I said. This is the silver, and then, of course, the top tier is gold. So the silver, the citation of the silver dragon is behind me, and then there is a gold one that has a crucifix on the top of it, and it's, as I mentioned, it's gold. I would like to present this award today to our very good friend, Arthur. And the reason why I am presenting Arthur with this silver dragon is because, as I had mentioned in the lobby, it's very difficult to gather a large group of people together, to be committed, to have great ideas, and then of course to organize an event, and especially in person these days, and actually be able to pull it off very well. It's the professionalism. It's the commitment. It's the determination of being a part of the community, of sticking around, being active. We need more micronations to be active and to be in the light. There are a lot of micronations that struggle to meet that, and that's not always their fault. It's just the community is so oversaturated with micronations. It's hard to see everybody. I think we can all attest to that. I mean, Jerkul, for instance, has been around for almost 5-6 years, and still everybody doesn't know who we are. And that's just the way it is. But Arthur and his nation have really stuck out within the community for a lot of people to see. And I think it's because of the professionalism and the determination. And we need more micronations like that. And we need more to want to participate in things like this. So because of your efforts in micronationalism, I would like to present you this silver citation of the dragon. It is a physical medal, and I will reach out to you after this virtual conference to gather your physical mailing address, and I will be sending this to you in the mail. And it is considered a breast badge. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the kind words. I am very honored to receive this award. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
If anyone else would like to give an award, then go ahead. I'm about to put my own on also, but
I think Jan sent you something. So
yeah, that was for the presentation room, I believe.
Okay.
I'll do it right after this.
Well, I would like to say something too. First of all, thank you to everyone for attending and listening to each other, and then to me. And thank you all for again attending. And I would like to I would like to establish a diplomatic relation just for international relations, easy access to each other, and to have further conversations outside of professional manner, so that we can be more on a friendly level, that so as to develop further relations in for other purposes as well. And that's about it. I would like to establish diplomacy with all 8 of the people here, and yeah, that's about it. And by the way, I would like to say that my first diplomatic relation as a state has failed because of the first state to be diplomatic had kicked me from their server, and had also blocked me, so I do not really have any other diplomatic relations and with you all here today. So I would like to thank you all again for attendance, and I would like to award you with diplomacy. And yeah, that's what I can think of as of now. So thank you all again.
Okay, thank you for those words, Casalia.
I also want to acknowledge the words that Jan has put in the chat. It's I know you've been around a long time, and it's nice to hear you say good words about this type of event and the types of micronation that we have gathered today. It's from a micronation that has a standing like Jan. Yeah, it's great to hear. Thank you.
Yes, I also yes. Thank you for those words. Well, thank you, everybody. If no one else is going to be giving out awards, then I'll just hang up my own on the wall. One moment, please. One moment. The first award goes to Chloe. She has been an integral part for bringing Digimicro Summit to the way it is. I think that without her, it wouldn't have been as big or even have existed if it wasn't for her. So for that, thank you. The second award that I would like to give is to all the people who presented. Um, Everyone who gave a presentation today and tomorrow also will be awarded the Order of Friendship. I just like to thank you all for giving the presentation, educating us all about whatever you talked about. It was a pleasure hearing every single one of your presentations and what you had to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Lucas, for that presentation, and thank you for the award. It's it's been the when I started micronationalism, it was to gain a sense of community and meet new people, and it's been nice that micronationalism brought us to work together on projects, and especially this one. And this is exactly the reason why I joined micronationalism. And to see that at your age, you're already, having these types of ideas and having and bringing, this variety of micronations from around the world with your idea of DG Micro Summit. That I mean, I think shows that you have a bright future ahead, and it's really nice to help you try to achieve these types of dreams. And um, I just enjoy working with you, and it's just it's wonderful. I like it, and I'm sure you'll enjoy Microcon EU, and you'll see that it's quite similar to what you've done. I know you have your doubts about what we're doing here, that it's not exactly as Microcon, but you'll see that the Digimicro Summit is exactly like Microcon, and you'll have a first-hand experience of that.
Yes. I don't know. Just a few more weeks, and then I'll see for myself. Okay. Well, if no one else has something to say, then for an award, then I think we can return to the lobby and continue just chatting.
Yes, we can head to the lobby, and thanks again for presenting or attending today. Tomorrow, there's still some other presentations. It's not the end of the event. There's Jürgen Schwarz who will be doing a presentation on micronational stamps and their history. This is going to be really interesting. For those who don't know who Jürgen is, he's the one behind yourstamps.eu, which is a prime manufacturer of micronational stamps. And so if you want to know more about micronational stamps, the history of micronational stamps. Of course, Jürgen's presentation is going to be one that you don't want to miss. So yeah, and see you tomorrow. And of course, we can go and chat in the lobby about other things. For sure, I will try to. I'm still it's still early in Montreal, and I guess for Stephen it's also quite early. But I mean I have some time ahead of me, and can't wait to talk to you again in the lobby.
Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah, you're 1 hour behind, so I think
Off of work at midnight yesterday, had to be up at 9 for
yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I usually start work at 8 a.m. and sometimes it's hard to wake up at 7 and be out by 7:30. So yeah, I get it. So how is the weather in Houston right now?
The weather right now is 88 degrees and mostly sunny, but I'm sure we will all melt by noon.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. There was a big heat wave in the south of the U.S. and I hope you're managing. I hope it's not too difficult.
We have to take water breaks at work because I work outside. You have to take water breaks like every 30 minutes. It's been brutal. We're not even in August yet, which is normally our hottest month.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I might have to go in 7 minutes because I really have to sleep. I haven't slept in like 16 or so hours. Yeah, and
Sure, you that's the one rule I think we should have in micronationalism. You take care of yourself first. That's always the thing.
I stayed up late just to get to the diplomatic
Oh yeah.
reception.
Same. I went to sleep at 2:30 a.m. this morning. So
Yeah, and oh right, I also wanted to say that wait, let me try to remember. Oh yeah, I'm going to end the live in 6 minutes. So are we finished?
I think for it's going to be informal chat if people want to continue chatting. Yeah.
All right. So then I will be here for 6 more minutes, and then I'll head off to sleep and finish the live stream. Okay, great.
Are people too shy to talk, or?
No, I don't want to talk. I'm scared.
Because I mean that's the thing. If you go to micronational events, people are just talking about anything and everything. So, but I mean, and maybe that's a question for Archer. How's the informal chats in micro
Euro Summit?
Euro Summit? Yes.
Yeah, it was like a family. We talked about
yes.
It was not about micronationalism, about our hobbies, our family, countries, and just everyday issues, and just how to say small talk. Just
yes, I remember when I went to Meow Wolf exhibit in Las Vegas with Kevin Ba and Adrian and Alexis and stuff like that. We didn't talk about Molossia or Sancrotosia or anything. We talked about other things, how it's going. And Adrian told, I mean, me and Adrian, we were talking about work, and Kevin was talking about something. Yes, so, and yeah, that's the thing. And I say that because Lucas is always, well, I mean, we don't talk about micronationalism. Is it okay? And I'm like, yeah, it's micronational conferences. People don't, talk about micronations all day and every day. We also, try to talk about other things. And I just wanted to, confirm that it was not just a microcon thing, but
No,
it was also a micro Euro Summit thing.
Yes, also when there are some, I have met up with some micronationalists or other or diplomatic meetings. You talk about micronations 1 or 2 hours, and then the rest you talk about normal things. I met up with Sultan Randy last year in Munich.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit about micronations, and after we switched to traveling and to geography.
Of course.
Just,
yeah. It was also the same at the diplomatic reception over at Caroline. I talked with Gretchen. She's the daughter of Caroline of Ladonia, and because she used to live in Montreal, so I mean, I talked about her time in Montreal, and we just start chatting about other things completely unrelated to micronationalism. And then with Jean-Pierre Avec-Mort, I registered for the cornhole tournament, which I won. I don't know why, because cornhole is not popular in Montreal. And Jean-Pierre did not register because he didn't know what cornhole was. And a funny thing happened. He was like, I've never seen someone, do a hole-in-one in cornhole. I was like, well, I mean, I did a couple. You should try. And he sank, I think, 3 back-to-back in the hole. It was the first time that he ever played. It was just, we had a funny moment there. And it's not micronationally related, but, we're just people that are trying to have fun and talk about other things. And of course, with Aigues-Mortes, we don't talk about micronations too much. We switch over to other things, and we sometimes talk about the micro-francophonie, but usually we just veer off of something else.
Actually, I have a question for Arthur and Chloe. So as Jordan also said, Randy always puts on the character, the persona of him being the Sultan and his comedy. But what is he when he doesn't put that mask on and persona? How is Randy as Randy?
I would say he's a pretty normal guy, very funny, talks very much. So I liked him very much. I had the possibility to meet him like Randy with casual clothes in Munich, and we had a really good time in a beer, in a restaurant, in a typical Bavarian restaurant. He's very normal, I would say. So completely different than like when he's a sultan. He also doesn't speak like he speaks a normal English when you talk with him private, not this general foreign accent.
Yes, I haven't had the chance to talk that much with Randy, because I mean everybody is over him at Microcon. Media is over him. People are over him. People want pictures and stuff like that. And there's like at Microcon there's 150 people, so it's crowded really quickly around Sultan. But yes, I'm sure he's as you say, pretty ordinary guy, and that's the vibe he gives us outside of the Soul Jamastan.
He's very social. He talks very much. He makes jokes like he does on the radio. He's a radio moderator. He has to talk all day. So.
I remember that Jordan was telling. He had mentioned in 2 of the micro improvement podcast episodes that I think it was the first microcon that Randy had gone to. He blocked the bathroom.
Yeah, I saw the pictures on the Facebook.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, I mean that's the performance art at its best. It's he's really managing that brilliantly. But yes, Slow Jamistan. But I mean, everyone. I mean, you would meet Kevin, and when he's in uniform, I mean, he's the president Kevin Baugh, and then you would go to a art exhibit with him, and he'd be in short and t-shirt, and just be laughing, making jokes, and just being the regular guy that he is. So
It's like a persona.
exactly. Well, you have to, and it's the same for me, and it's the same for most people. I mean, Travis also, when he's not in costume, he's just like a regular guy, and that's it. I mean, and we're all, I think, Caroline also, when she's all dressed, she's really royal and regal, but when she's bowling, she's just bowling. She's not the posh queen of Ladonia. She's just Caroline, and she's just enjoying bowling, for instance. So yeah, it's nice to, and that's the thing that I like about events like Microcon and Micro Euro Summit, is that you have the moments where performance is encouraged and it's great, but you also have moments where you just meet people who share the same hobby as you do and share the same projects as you do, and you just have a good time with people who understand what you're doing. And once you get past that, of course, you can talk about other things and enjoy each other's company. I mean, one of my favorite thing was to just sit in the lobby, and there was always somebody that would come up and sit in the lobby of the hotel, and we just start to chat, and that was just a fun thing to do during the events, was just to move around and meet people and talk with them and have a good time.
Yeah, same at the Micro Summit. In the evening, we sat in the beer garden and had some drinks and just talked about everything, and very, very informal, like a group of old friends and family.
Yeah.
We need to have? They need to have a Microcon where there's a big giant ballroom and a big ball. Everybody shows up in royal or military formal attire and dances to the waltz.
Yeah, I mean, we had music this time, and there was a dance floor. So it was nice to see people like Adrian with her gown dancing, and people that been dancing around. It was really fun. But I know that Eric wants to maybe have a string band, like a quartet at Microcon, and that they would play, of course, waltz and stuff like that, but they would also try to get some micronational anthems to play. So there's this idea with it's still an embryonic idea, but it would be nice to have or maybe if it's not a live band, at least to ask people to send the national anthem so that they can play when you enter into the room or something like that. So there are these ideas that we have to add a little to the performance of Microcon. But yes, the informal discussions is, I think, one of the things that I like the most about Microcon. Is go into the hotel restaurant in the morning, and then you already have someone eating their breakfast alone, and they ask you to join, and you have an informal discussion over coffee and breakfast. This is the type of thing that I quite enjoyed.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of anthems, I kind of wanted to give everybody here a resource. I know there's a lot of people that they have a desire to have a new custom created anthem. Because I know a lot of times in micronationalism starting out, we've all done it at some point or another because we wanted a song to represent us, but everybody usually in the beginning, a lot of people take an anthem that already exists, at least the tune of it. If you're looking to get a national anthem custom created for your micronation, you can go on the app on the website Fiverr, and there is a gentleman on there by the name of Jordan Grigg, Grig. Jordan Grigg. He is a Canadian composer. He can create you a custom national anthem. He wrote Dracul's national anthem, the one we use now.
That's cool.
National anthem for about $100.
Oh, that is really expensive. In Georgia.
How do you write to Greg? I'm looking him up right now.
He's also, believe it or not, he's also on. There's also an article on him on MicroWiki.
Oh, for real?
Oh,
Yep.
really? Nice.
Yeah, I decided to create one on him because he was mentioned
Well,
several times.
Yes, and as the composer of a Micronational anthem, Jordan Grigg.
That is really cool.
Yes.
And by the way, I will have to go. Right now it's past over 12 minutes right now. So yeah,
Mhm.
I will go now and end the stream and go sleep.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Okay.
Enjoy. Have a nice sleep.
Thank you. You all as well. You all need rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.
Yeah, I know $100 is a lot of money, but it's like they say, you get what you pay for.